Hello guys, welcome to another session. So here we will be talking about the question which is related to ideal types from Weber. Okay, so I'll give you the question and then go through the question and then we can discuss the answer also. So the format in which you'll be answering the question is what I'll be explaining. Okay, so here you see the question. How does Weber use the notion of ideal types in his theory of bureaucracy? So you can talk about what is a concept of ideal type, right? Before that, you'll give an introduction, and then you discuss about ideal type, right? And then its characteristics, and then theory of bureaucracy, and then you can discuss a criticism, and then you will be concluding. So direct, straightforward question. So let's see how we will be proceeding with this. So you can talk about the different, understanding of ideal types. And here I will not be discussing exact answer also. So guys, what could be the introduction? You can talk a couple of lines about Weber. If it is a 20 marker, otherwise directly get into ideal types. Okay. So Max Weber, a German sociologist, formulated his theory of bureaucracy using the analytical tool of ideal types. So you know what is ideal type, right? So here we talk about bureaucracy because the question is related to that. So bureaucracy for Weber actually represents the most rational and efficient form of organization in modern societies. And he recognized that the ideal type of bureaucracy is not just a reflection of reality, but an abstract model which is constructed to help to understand and compare the organizational structure. So again, you can also say something like by applying the notion of ideal types, which is given by Weber, or by applying the notion of ideal types, Weber sought to uncover or try to understand the underlying principles and characteristics of bureaucracies in their purest form. So if you want, you can mention about ideal types also, the concept of ideal type, right? And its characteristics also, right? I can give you a few lines about that, and then we will move on to bureaucracy, and then other thinkers also we need to see, guys, just focus on this part, focus on Weber, talk about ideal type, talk about bureaucracy and the ideal typical, application or the conception which is given, and then talk about other thinkers also and the criticism also. So if you see Weber's ideal type, it's a methodology or methodological construct, which is used for comparative analysis. And it serves as a mental model. It's a mental tool. It's an analytical concept to highlight the key features of social phenomena, enabling which will help the researcher to analyze the real world, deviations, differences, understanding parameters and everything. So this is an analytical tool, right? This is an ideal typical concept, right? It's not purest form. This is the ideal form. Okay. So again, we have discussed about ideal types of Protestant ethic, ideal type of capitalism. We went for comparative analysis. So he used this method for, comparative analysis mostly. So all these things we discussed in theory. Now coming to the characteristics of ideal types. These are logical constructions. These are abstract constructs, right? Ideal types are abstractions derived from the real world, but do not mirror it exactly. It will not reflect the exact reality, but it is derived from the reality. For example, again, Weber's bureaucracy is a selective reconstruction of organizational structures. Again, it's a logical construction. It is systematically and logically created to emphasize core features of a phenomena. And who will be doing it? It's done by a trained investigator, not any random person, right? So that's a logical construction, and it's neither normative, it's nor statistical also. These are features of ideal types, which you already know. That's why I'm going faster. So it's not, a prescriptive model. Rather, there's an analytical tool, or it's a mental construct, right, for understanding variations of reality, actual reality. So by comparing, you can understand the actual reality. You can talk about, ideal types are constructed by, inductive observations and serve deductively to use, to evaluate the real world examples, right? So ideal types strike the balance between overly specific and overly generic concepts. So it stands on a medium ground, okay? Now Weber's theory of bureaucracy. So Weber applied the ideal type methodology to define bureaucracy as the most rational legal form of organization. Talk about three forms of, bureaucracy, right? So again, the key features of bureaucracy you can talk about, or key features of Weber's bureaucratic ideal types. Division of, guys, this is very important. You talk about division of labor, you talk about hierarchical structure, expert trained personnel, written rules and procedures, impersonality, which is again very important, administrative class. All these are the ideal types of bureaucracy. Okay, so division of labor, which means work is divided into specified, right, specialized tasks, each with defined responsibilities. For example, in modern organizations, the different departments, HR, finance, they handle the specific functions, specific roles which are assigned to them. Hierarchical structure, the authority flows in a clear chain of command that ensure accountability and coordination and proper functioning. For example, again, managers, supervisors, subordinates, they will also have some other subordinate, right? And this subordinates have to report to the higher authorities. So that will that the coordination which is actually going on, and that helps with respect to efficiency and other things also. And here these are expert and trained professionals or personals. Bureaucracy employs technically qualified individuals. Why? Because ultimately this is for ensuring efficiency. So this is what actually division of labor for Weber. Okay, for example, again, civil service that require exams to ensure merit-based selection, because you need to be qualified, you need to be an expert, you need to be a trained personnel. And decisions and operations are governed by formal written rules, which are documented again for consistency and accountability. Governmental procedures that follow the codified laws and the regulations. Again, that's what written rules and procedures, right? Again, you can talk about relationships within the organization are governed by objective rules and not personal preferences, which clearly says impersonality is another ideal type. For example, promotions are based on performance based, right? It's not personal connections. Again, officials do not own the means of production, and they operate within the confines of organizational roles. So the administrative class. So these are the ideal types that you need to talk about. Right now, how ideal types inform bureaucratic analysis. Weber used, use of ideal types allow comparison. You can compare understanding rationalization, diagnosing the inefficiencies, right? So when you talk about comparison, bureaucracies across different contexts that can be analyzed for their conformity or deviation from the ideal. So if you take these elements, which we discussed, the ideal types, and then you take any organization, you can compare it with that, comparing government bureaucrats in industrialized versus developing nations. Again, bureaucracy, epitomizes the rational legal authority that is dominant in modern societies. And that means understanding rationalization. So here you can talk about Weber's iron cage metaphor, iron cage of rationality, that highlights how rationality structures modern life, but it may lead to rigidity and prevent your, creativity and other things. Iron cage of rationality, we discussed it again. Right, again, by identifying the deviations from ideal type, whatever things we have discussed, if there is any deviation, what you can understand the inefficiencies in the system, the dysfunctions in the real world bureaucracies, and that can be addressed. So it helps in diagnosing the inefficiencies and dysfunctions. Corruption and red tapeism, that can be seen as deviation from the personal and rule-bound bureaucracy. Now, let's look at some of the criticism also. First, we talk about Karl Marx. You can use Marx also. You can talk about Parson also, right? So Marx criticized bureaucracy as an instrument of bourgeois. This is a general one. You can use like anywhere. Capitalist, right? Used to maintain control and exploitation of the working class. Talcott Parson highlighted the potential for conflict between hierarchy and technical expertise, especially when superiors lack the knowledge to supervise effectively. So that situation, that conflict possibility, hierarchy, because you are the powerful, but this bottom person is the knowledgeable or the expert. So that can create issue, right? Again, Weber's model suited for industrialized societies. It may not address the complexities of developing nations, such as the need for welfare-focused administrations. Again, another criticism is about the overemphasis on rules, laws, excessive focus on regulation that can lead to inefficiency, as bureaucrats prioritize compliance over the problem solving. They try to stick to the rules rather than looking into the actual problems. Then human limitations, of course. See, this model assumes ideal conditions, right? Ignoring the human factors like innovation, motivation, and flexibility. So this is ideal typical concept. It's an abstract concept. Weber also talking about the same thing only. Weber says, yes, these are the ideals. You need to compare it with the actual reality. These are not realities in themselves. Okay, again, rigid hierarchy. The critics again argue that rigid hierarchies, suppress that creativity and adaptability, which are crucial in dynamic environments. Again, same thing, iron cage of rationality we talk about. But still, what is a contemporary relevance? You can say, despite all its criticism, this theory of bureaucracy remained a cornerstone for organizational studies. Talk about public administration, corporate sector, various reforms, etc. So Weber's principle inform modern governance systems, emphasizing meritocracy and also the accountability aspect, which is very, very important in public administration. Meritocracy and accountability, impersonality also. Okay, then in corporate sector, this hierarchical structure in multinational corporation reflect that Weber's bureaucratic ideal. So it's still relevant. It has been followed, and it is ensuring that efficiency and that proper working also. And you see, recognizing that deviations, these are ideal models and there are deviations. What does it tell you? It tells that inefficiencies or the dysfunctions. It will help you to maintain that setup, and it will inspire the administrative reforms, what the reforms which is required, such as reducing the red tapeism, promoting e-governance, etc. So guys, these are relevance which you can talk about. And how to conclude? See, Weber's ideal type of bureaucracy, we can say it's a great work. It's a seminal work for understanding the organizational structures and their dynamics. See, I've not given the 3 models because all those are basics, and which rational, legal, authority, charismatic, that things that is more important, not in bureaucracy. That is important when we discuss about authority. Okay, but if required, anywhere space is there. If you want, you can mention. Remember, that's not bureaucracy, that's authority. Okay, so see, this theory, in fact, highlights the technical superiority of bureaucracy in achieving efficiency and coordination, but it also acknowledges the potential pitfalls like rigidity, dehumanization, etc. And I told you about the iron cage of rationality. So by using the ideal type as a methodological tool, in fact, Weber offered a lens through which to analyze and also to improve the bureaucratic systems. And that makes his contribution enduringly relevant in sociology and public administration also. So public administration also, Weber is relevant, right? So you are studying Weber in public administration, one of the key thinker over there also. So guys, that's about the session. Thank you so much for attending. If you like the video, share it with your friends also. So in case if you're looking for any mentorship on sociology, test series or the course, check out the details in the description. Get in touch with us. Download the PDF anyway for free of cost. That details also in the description. So see you in the next video. Thank you so much.